Hello, this is Mercury Rises from Clash of Empire, now called Last Land, and I am in my K368 captain. I have another captain, and I'm very fortunate that Captain Fantastic had chosen me to be his partner. So I'm going through my account here and just doing the regular routine, and then in the second half of this, we'll show the little Captain Castle and what I do for that. So it's going to be a long video, and so I wanted to cover a couple topics. This weekend is Throne War, and this is where the typically three kingdoms come together. Sometimes there's two. And in the very beginning, it is inside the kingdom where the alliances can fight over throne. So the throne is the war that the king becomes the ruler of the kingdom or kingdoms, and typically it's the alliance that has the biggest players in it, where the other players from the rest of the kingdom will join, and they'll play throne war. Now, there are three buildings: the throne and the north and south tower in the beginning, and then typically after migration, all four towers are available with the throne. We'll have a lot of C30s at that point, and a lot of players that want to do throne, and so this works out nicely because it's very important to play throne if you can. In Throne War, you can get many Sage Stones. There are dragons where you get rewards from that, and the Burial Spirits where you can just hit them individually. So a lot of Throne involves a lot of different facets. You can get points for your kingdom for the throne by playing Throne War itself, or you can play for points by going to the other kingdoms and hitting tiles, and that in return you cannot collect during Throne War because they'll come and hit your tiles. Now you can duel in tiles, or you can duel in the towers. Many times, especially if there's a large power difference, they'll leave the south tower open for players to play in duels. In the very beginning of the kingdom, the number one alliance is typically the one that occupies those buildings, and sometimes the rest of the kingdom do not want to fight them because there's just no winning or competing. Somewhat a mistake, because that means nobody gets prizes. So in order to get prizes, you have to fight in the war in some capacity. The other way to get points, especially for the weaker players, is to go into the Dark Forest shielded and trade resources. This gets points for your kingdom. And yes, you can win the event while not winning the throne. So that's kind of neat, because if your kingdom is very cooperative to get points, but there's just no way to win the throne and you don't want to take a whole lot of losses, you can play for points and you can win or be the winning alliance and win the event and get those prizes, even if you don't get the throne. With throne comes positions, and typically the top ranked players become uh, the queen. The king obviously is usually predetermined, but they become the queen, the judge, the presiding judge, the guardian, things like that. If you have ticked somebody off, you might end up being the tramp or the maid and getting debuffs. Most kings don't assign those positions, of what I've seen, but they can be kind of fun, because I wanted to always be the maid and I couldn't be the maid, and then you have to be, in order to get those debuffs, usually you got to be a rebel, and I won't be a rebel. So finally I asked one of our kings to make me maid, and he said no. He was afraid my boyfriend would zero him. So, yeah, that wasn't good. But later on, the boyfriend was no longer a threat, and I asked the king for the maid position, and then my partner asked him again, and we got the maid in tramp positions for a day. Now that it does have a debuff, so you don't want it too long. So the other thing I wanted to discuss is the little captain I have here. I am going to Kingdom 430, I believe, 440. Anyway, I think it's 430. We're going to Kingdom 430, and 429 had opened on Monday, and usually the kingdoms start on Thursday, and that didn't happen. So I'm thinking that this kingdom's going to start on Monday at 10 o'clock. So what you want to do is you want to train a bunch of troops, and you want to gather as much as you can, build up your heroes as you can, and use your stamina. Always use your stamina. And unfortunately, as a C6, all you can do is hit monsters, but those will get you some prizes, and you can gather. And usually those gathers are about 30 to 35 minutes. So just go in there and do it when you can. Training troops is about 45 minutes, I think. So you can switch on the inside of your castle, and it's very quick. To go into your captain, you do want to bind it to make sure it's bound, so that when the end of your captain event um, comes to pass, you can still access that castle. So you want to be able to get into the castle, and either if you want to stay in that kingdom or you want to give the castle away, you want to have it bound properly so that you can do that. Um, but I've talked about Captain Mission many times. The last Captain Mission I had, me and my son had to abandon because migration had happened all of a sudden. So that was really unfortunate. It just hit at the same time. So we couldn't do everything at once, and he and I both decided that we were just going to have to let that go. The captain after that, I actually helped an ally, and I built my own castle and helped him build his. And he and his partner played that event. I think they might have gotten 100 cards. So anyway, that is what I have for you today. Thank you. Bye bye.